Satnam, everyone. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. I want to welcome you all today. As people arrive, I'll just speak a little bit about what we're going to be doing today. Today we're going to focus on learning a Shabad. The program is called Learn-a-Shabad. And it's one of several programs as part of our ongoing Wednesday programs called, this one is called Learn-a-Shabad, but we have other programs that are in this series, and I'll be telling you about some of them. They're all part of what we call Dharma Dive Live, because they all take place live. And next week, as you will see in the streaming information at the bottom of the screen, next week we are having a program called Dialogues in Dharma, and we're going to have a panel of guest presenters who will be all mental health professionals, Sikhs, and we'll be talking about Sikhs and depression in the time of COVID. So for those of you who are struggling with feeling a lot of stress, this program next week may help you, or if you know people who are struggling with the weight of COVID and all the other stresses in life that we have, then next week I think that program could be very helpful to you. So I want to welcome Nivedita and Jasleen, Deva Hardeep, Deborah, Mahan Sangeet, and Judith. So all of you are regulars, and nice to see you back again. For any of you who are new to this program, please do take a moment to let us know where you're from. Put your name in the, just by letting us know where you're from, where you're logged in from. That will reveal to us your name as well. And this is being live streamed to both Facebook and to YouTube. So if you know of someone who isn't on Facebook, but who might like to participate in these programs, just let them know that they're also live on YouTube through our Sikh Dharma International YouTube channel, and that all of these will be recorded and available to whomever later, at a later time. So if they miss it now, they can tune in and watch these videos later. They won't be able to ask questions like you can, and I hope you will, but they will be able to watch it and get something out of it, I hope. And so, as I said, this program is Learn-a-Shabad, and this is the second in this particular series. The last one was about a month ago, and we will be doing the Shabad this week, Dithai Sabai Taav. And we're going to go through the words, make sure that you get a chance to try saying the words if you're new to these, and then look at the meaning as well. And then we'll go through a melody where I'll show you the notes. And there is I'm wondering who's here who can do this. There's a page on the Sikh Dharma website, Sikh Dharma International website, sikhdharma.org, that has, it will continue to be a repository of documents relating to this particular series of Learn-a-Shabad. And in that, on that page, already there, are two documents. One is the words for this Shabad, both in Gurmukhi and in transliteration, and the meaning. And then also there is a document that shows you the notation in the Indian system, the classical Indian system of documenting or representing the notes. And if that's new to you, you might find that a little difficult to navigate. But if you're familiar with how that's done, I think you'll find it quite easy. And I'll show you that both of those documents as we're talking so you can see them. And anyway, let's get started. So Siri Sadhana is here. That's wonderful. And nice to see you. And we're going to look at this Shabad first with the words. So let me bring that up for you to see. And I'm juggling a lot of different skills here. So bear with me if I am a little slow on this, but let's see if we can make this happen. No, that's the camera. Let me go back to this. And let's see. How do I bring this up? One sec. There. All right. And let me hide Learn-a-Shabad for a moment. There. All right, now we're back to where we can see these words for the Shabad. And you can also see my keyboard there. But we'll get to that in a few minutes. But right now, what I want to show you are these words. And you know what? I'm gonna even make them bigger so that we can. There. Great. Okay. So this is a fairly short Shabad. It is composed by Guru Arjan, the fifth Guru, who was the Guru just after Guru Ram Das. And this Shabad is very much in praise of Guru Ram Das, but also in praise of Amritsar. You know, that is the town, the place that was founded by Guru Ram Das at Guru Amar Das's direction. Young Ram Das was assigned the task during the life of Guru Amar Das to go into an area, you know, that was some distance from where Guru Amar Das was, and Ram Das was told to find a place where they could establish a new village, a new town, and so he did that. He found a place that was significant because it had this amazing water, this spring of water that was very healing, and it was known to have those properties already. And so then the town was established around that spring of water that was called Ramdaspur, and that's referred to in this Shabad. We'll get to that in just a minute. And the town of Ramdas, the Ramdaspur, was established, and then it grew over time. And then by the time that Guru Arjan became Guru, then the town was flourishing, and Guru Arjan designed and built what we now call the Golden Temple, or Harimandir Sahib. And so this Shabad is also in praise of all of that, you know. And yet then there's a whole nother level that this Shabad is in praise of, and that is the inner experience of all of those things, of Guru Ram Das, of Amritsar, of Harimandir Sahib. And it's all a metaphor for our own inner journey into the immersion into spirit, into the light of the infinite within us. In the form of Shabad Guru or in the form of Naad, any of that is relevant to understanding how we experience the Shabad. And so let's look at this first line in the Shabad. Dithai Sabai Taav nahi tudjaya. So if you read Gurmukhi, that's wonderful. It's right there and easy to understand the letters. If you're not fluent in Gurmukhi, then we have transliteration there. And I want you to be warned that if you're just new to working with transliterations, they're not perfect. They are limited and they are variable. Some are better than others. but it's also sometimes the system that is used to transliterate by one person might be very meaningful to that person, but maybe not so helpful to another person. So the systems used are not standardized, not consistent. And also that if you are an English speaker, if English is your primary language, then most of these systems will make sense to you. But if you are, let's say, a Spanish speaker or a Portuguese speaker, then it's going to be a little challenging because some of the phonetic sounds that are represented in the transliteration for English speakers may not translate very well to create the sound that is really being made by the Gurmukhi letters. So this is where we just have to be a little fluid in our understanding and do the best we can. And doing the best we can is really important. As we start out on the path of Sikh Dharma or Sikhi, then our abilities are maybe a little limited, but then the longer we're on this path, then it is the path of learning. And so there is an expectation that our skills will be refined over time and that we will be improving on how we pronounce the words. So that said, I also want to let you know that I also make mistakes, and I've been doing it for many years. So just you do the best you can with sincerity, with heart and commitment to try to get it right, because we want to honor these words. These are the words of the gurus, and so to us they're precious, and we want to try our best to get it right. So this transliteration system that we have here is pretty good, but if you can find a teacher who can help you pronounce and learn first the Gurmukhi letters and then pronounce them, that will be really helpful to you. And then you can share that information as you go along. And that's really what this path is about, is learning something and then handing it on to someone else. So welcome, Jesse, and Amrit Sadhna, and Bani Amrita. I can't quite make it. Bani Amrita, yes. So welcome. Sorry, it's a little far for my eyes to see, so I'm doing my best here. Anyway, so let's look at this the words in this first line. Dithai. So that's fairly straightforward. The D sound is made with the tongue. If this is your mouth profile, these are your teeth coming together. Your tongue is right at the back of the top teeth. Dithai, dithai, dithai. So you want to make that D sound a little harder than we do mostly in English with a simple D for dog kind of sound. Dithai, and this transliteration is using the AI conjunction of those two sounds to represent in the Gurmukhi the single line that you see above there. Dithai. And the next is also the same A sound, Sabai. And, you know, it's written with an A. The transliteration is written S-A, Sabai. But be sure that you're not saying Sabe, because in the Gurmukhi there is no vowel indicated in the letters. And when that is happening, it's a very, very short sound, Sabe. Sometimes people write that with a U, but I don't think that's appropriate here. So Sabai, Dithai Sabai, and I'll give you a chance to say this with me in just a moment. Next word is Taav. And again, the T sound is more aspirated. The tongue is in the same place as the D sound, and there's t, t. There's a little more aspiration, Tav. The next word is Nahi, Nahi. There's a H sound there. Nahi, and then Tud, And the T sound is not quite as aspirated as tav, but the D sound is also a very sort of dull D. Tud, tud, jaya is the last word. J, ha, jaya. So Dithai Sabai Taav nahi tud jaya. So let me say that in 2 parts, and you repeat it after me. All right? So here we go. Dithai Sabai Taav. Now you say, Dithai Sabai Taav. And again, Dithai Sabai Taav. And you, Dithai Sabai Taav. Nahi tud jaya. Nahi tud jaya. Nahi tud jaya. Nahi tud jaya. And now all together the line. Dithai Sabai Taav. Nahi tud jaya. Very good. And if you have particular questions about how to pronounce something, just let me know in the questions. So let's look at the next second line. Badahon is the first word. Badahon. Purak bidate. Now, in the transliteration, bidate is written EH, and there's different ways that will be done in different transliteration systems. But the effort here is to try to differentiate the eh sound from the a sound. So in the first line we have dite, and this is not that. This is, badahom purak bidate. It's a short vowel sound, eh. Badahom purak bidate. And then the next ta, and it's a nasal sound a little bit. In the Gurmukhi, you'll see there's a little dot. Well, you may not if you're not familiar, but there is a dot indicating that it's not just ta, it's ta, with a slight nasal at the end. Ta, and then tu, soya, sohiha, soya. So let's do this in phrases, and I'll say the line, the half of the line, and you say it. We'll go through that twice, then I'll do the second half of the line, and then we'll say it all together. Badahon purak bidate. Now you. Badahon purak bidate. And again, me. Badahon purak bidate. And you. Badahon purak bidate. And the second half of the line. Ta tu soya. Now you. Ta tu soya. And me. Ta tu soya. And you. Ta tu soya. And now all together the whole line. Badahon purak bidate. Ta tu soya. Great. The third line is Vasadi Sagan. So again, with these A sounds, you want to be with short sounds. So I'm just trying to see if we have a long A sound. Yeah, in Ramdas, and later in this line. So here we have a long A sound for Ramdas. Ramdas. Different than Sagan. Sagan is very short A sounds. And the same with Vasa, Vasadi, Vasadi Sagan. And then Apar, so there's a long A sound too, Apar. So let's do, now the next line, the next part of the line is Anup Ramdas Pur. And that last word, Pura, is a very short kind of vowel. It's not pur, and the R is reflex. The tongue goes up, pura. It's almost a D sound as we think in English, pura. Just a very slight roll to the R sound. So let's go through this phrase by phrase. I'll say it, then you say it. Vasadi sagana apar. Now you. Vasadi sagana apar. And again. Vasadi sagana apar. And you. Vasadi sagana apar. And now the second half of the line. Me. Anup Ramdas Pur. And you. Anup Ramdas Pur. And me, Anup Ramdas Pura. And you, Anup Ramdas Pura. And now all together. Vasadi Sagana Apar Anup Ramdas Pura. Good. All right, now the last line is a little tricky, especially when we look at the singing of this line, because this first word, Hadahan, is it has to be put before the first beat in the melody, and it has to be kind of squeezed in on an upbeat, you could say, just before the first beat. Hadahan and Nanak, so Nanak will be the first beat. So Hadahan, has to come in very quickly. And so let's look at this word. Hadahan. It's got a nasal sound at the end again, and the vowels are pretty short. So Hadahan, and then the word Nanak, you must be familiar with that. And the next word is Kasamal, Kasamal. Again, all the vowel sounds are short. There are no extended A's there. And then Jai, Nai, Ramdas, Sara. So Ramdas we know, Sara is like Pura, very short sound. The Jai, make sure that you're not making it Jai, but it's Jai, Jai. And then the next word is also, they put an AI here. I don't like that. It's actually Nai. It is a EH at the end of Nai, as opposed to Nai, Nai. So a little tricky in this. Let's try it together. And I'll say it, then you say it, and we'll divide it into phrases. So here we go, the first part of this line. Har Har Nanak Kasamal Jai. Now you. Har Har Nanak Kasamal Jai. Again. Har Har Nanak Kasamal Jai. And you. Har Har Nanak Kasamal Jai. Now the second part of the line. I'll go. Nai Ramdas Sar. And you. Nai Ramdas Sar. And me. Nai Ramdas Sar. And you. Nai Ramdas Sar. Now all together for the whole line. Har Har Nanak Kasamal Jai. Nai Ramdas Sar. All right, very good. I don't see any questions. Judith, are you saying it's not loud enough? I'm not sure when you say it's lower. I see. Yes, is someone finding the volume a little low? I can see if I can turn that up. Let's see. Does that help? I hope so. Okay, so now that we've gone through these words, let's look at the meaning briefly. Let's see, it's okay. I'm looking at the time, just making sure we can go through everything. So let's see this first line, Dithai Sabai Taav, Nahi tu Dijaya. Deborah, I'll see if I can get to that question. It's not something that I'm particularly knowledgeable about, so I'm not sure I can expand upon it. You seem to, um, yeah, yeah. I'm not sure the etymology of those two words together. I'm not sure. So anyway, let's get back to Dithai Sabai Taav nahi tu jaya. I have seen all places, but none can compare to you. And that's a sentiment that I think we all very clearly understand. And as you go into your meditation, as you connect to that infinite space, that infinite divine energy that is Guru Ramdas, or maybe you're connecting to the place, Harimandir Sahib, within or at a distance, that you feel that radiance, that presence of divine infinite that is expanding within you, and you feel awe, perhaps, or you feel at least respect, and you value that. And so you can imagine the words here of Guru Arjan referring to his Guru, but also referring to the majesty of everything that is created around the Guru and the path of the Guru. And here he's saying, I've seen other places, I've gone many places, I've seen other people, but none compares to what I experience here in this moment in the darshan of your energy, the divine energy. And then let's go on to the next line. So, Badahom Purak Bidate Tang Tu Soya. The primal Lord, the architect of destiny, isn't that a beautiful sentiment? The architect of destiny has established you. Thus, you are adorned and embellished. So, if you visit the Harimandir Sahib, this concept of adornment and embellishment is very present, very right there in your eyes. There's so much to dazzle you. And the way that the Harimandir Sahib is gilded, covered in gold, and the lights around it, especially at night, are just so amazing, to light it. It's there sitting out on that platform, basically, in the middle of this big tank of water, so everything is reflected. It's dazzling. It is embellished. And if we internalize that and bring that kind of amazement of sensation to our inner experience of connecting to Guru Ramdas, Harimandir Sahib, the infinite, then that is that embellishment. And even the Sri Guru Granth Sahib that sits within the Harimandir Sahib is beautifully adorned with beautiful cloths, rumalas, and all the things around it are very beautiful. And so, and the space itself is all beautiful. So it's like much care has been taken and much respect given. So it's exactly what this line is saying. Let's go to the next line. Vasadi Sagna Par Anup Ramdas Pur. So now we're mentioning Ramdas Pur, which, as I say, I said, it's the older name of the city of Amritsar. So before it was called Amritsar, it was known to be Ramdaspur, which literally means the town of Ramdas. And so Guru Arjan is commenting on Ramdaspur as being prosperous and thickly populated and incomparably beautiful. So I don't know what it looked like back then. We have very little to go on in terms of imagery from that time. But, it was a rural town, and it had this beautiful temple built in the middle of it with the water around it. So I can imagine it was a very beautiful at that time. If you go there now, the city has grown up around it, and it is a city. So there's lots of streets with lots of traffic and noise and, you know, air pollution and what have you. But that's the kind of polarity that you experience when you go there, is that you have to get through all that maya, all that illusory kind of stuff, and then finally you get and you step into the confines of the Harimandir Sahib, and it's beautiful and meditative and spectacular and powerful. And so, that's part of what Guru Arjan must be referring to here. The next line, Hara Hara Nanak Kasmala Jai, Nai Ramdas Sar. So here the Ramdas is referring to Sar, and Sar means tank, bathing tank, water tank. Many tanks were built at gurdwaras around this part of India as a way for people to bathe, not bathe like taking a bath, but to have a pilgrimage experience of immersing themselves in the water as a practice, as a spiritual connection to the vibratory energy of the divine. And so, excuse me, get a little more comfortable. So what we see here is that Guru Arjan is saying, Hara Hara, O Lord, O Nanak, O Infinite One. Bathing in the sacred pool of Ramdas, in other words, Ramdas Sar, your errors, your transgressions, your mistakes, your misjudgments, your sins in some people's eyes. I don't like that word, but I feel like we understand what we're talking about here, are released, washed away, dissolved. And so this is, as I started with this, talking about this, this is not just literally that you go there and that happens within taking a dip in the pool of water in Amritsar or around Harimandir Sahib. Although many people have had miraculous experiences like that, but it's also about the inner experience of immersing oneself in the Shabad, in the Gurbani, in a way that is cleansing and releasing. And that's very much the experience that we all can have with the Shabad Guru, with this Shabad, with any Shabad. So anyway, so I wanted to be sure we understood a little bit about this. And as I've said, this was written by Guru Arjan after, I'm not quite sure how soon after, but after Guru Ramdas had already passed away and Guru Arjan was established. And of course, what I didn't say yet, many of you know this, Guru Ramdas was Guru Arjan's father, biological father. So they had a very close relationship of being father-son and guru and disciple, and then succeeding guru. So it's a very, very tight relationship between Guru Ramdas and Guru Arjan. So the fact that Guru Arjan wrote this, along with some others that are also wonderful, in praise of Guru Ramdas, it's just beautiful and touching, and I think something that we can all connect to in terms of our relationships in life, So let's, now I want to turn to the melody and show you. There are many melodies, and I think I mentioned this in our last class, that, you can find recordings of all these shabads in a multitude, a variety of melodies. And as much as I feel very strongly that people should bring their own melodies forward and allow these shabads to become more accessible to people through many various ways. There is also a consciousness of respect that not every tune, not every melody is going to be able to bring to the Shabad. So there has to be a real matching of the two. Let me move this aside. One sec. Yeah. So what I was saying is that the melodies, the most successful melodies, have a way of revealing the natural flow of the words, the nod, but they also have a way of bringing honor to these sacred words. And that's where it gets really a little tricky to find a tune that does that. And it doesn't mean that there's a rule. It doesn't mean that there's only one way to do this, and that what makes sense or what moves me might be different for you. And so I'm not even trying to limit that with saying, oh, well, I know best. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that each of us, have to make that determination. And we do it naturally because as the Shabad and a particular recording might move us, we gravitate to choosing to listen more to tunes or melodies that are doing that, are allowing the Shabad to come forward, are moving us to connect to the Shabad. And so this is just one melody that I'm going to show you. But as I said, there's lots out there, and I'm not, I'm wanting you to choose many different, and listen to many different melodies before you make any judgments on one or another. So let me bring up a different. Sorry, I got to navigate this just a little bit here. And stop that. And now do it again. All right, let me make this bigger. Really big. All right, so this is the notation for the melody we're going to use for today's class. And if you know anything about the Indian notation system, it's relative. It's not specific or fixed to a particular note. So in Western music, you know, we've developed a notation system where when you see the notation system, it tells you which specific note on the scale to play by name. But in the Indian system, they use the sa re ga ma, like we have do re mi fa sol la ti do. They have sa re ga ma pa da ni sa, and that when people communicate about a melody, it's about that system of relativeness, I guess, between the notes. And it doesn't matter which note you start on. It's about the relationship and the distance apart that these notes are. So I might, now let me move this out of the way and come back to, let's see. Okay. So now you can see my keyboard. And when I choose a set a melody, then I may look at where to put the sa. And sometimes, many times, my sa falls here, and I'll play melodies based on that. But sometimes it needs to go somewhere else to fit for if the melody needs to go very low or if it needs to go very high, then you need to find out where that works for your voice. And the voice should be the determining factor. So rather than picking only one way of doing things, I want to be sure that you understand that it's best to think about, well, where does this melody fit within my vocal range? So this melody I'm going to show you is going to go down to there and up to here. So that's quite a range, and I can already verify to you that many women will find it difficult to go up to the high note without going into a falsetto voice, and that's fine. But I'm just letting you know that this range is a little more than many tunes are. So let's look at this melody. And I'll just sing it a little bit, the first line, so you can get familiar with it. And I want to say that that notation sheet I showed you is available currently online, and that if it's helpful to you, you should download it and print it out and use it. It will definitely assist you. If it doesn't make sense to you, or if you don't find it helpful, then don't worry about it, and just watch this video over and over to find out where the notes are. Right. So this first part just starts here. So if you're familiar with Western note names, so we're starting on the G sharp and going up to C. Dithai Sabai Taav. Let me do that again. Dithai Sabai Taav. So the second part of the words are played on the same tune here. So Nahi tud jaya. And then it goes up to here, which is again the G sharp, but a whole octave above where we were. Nahi tud jaya. Nahi tud jaya. So now I'm going to put that all together for you to see it. So this is the chorus, and it repeats many times. So as you play it, as you get used to playing it, there are little tricks along the way to make it rhythmically more interesting, perhaps. But I'm going to try to play it very simply so that you can see the simple way, and then I'll play it a little bit more with embellishments, since we were talking about embellishments. So here we go. Dithai Sabai Taav, Taav nahi tud jaya, Taav nahi tud jaya. Dithai Sabai Taav, Taav nahi tud jaya, Taav nahi tud jaya. Taav nahi tud jaya. Now, that was simple. You can do it a little more with little, doing kind of triplets. So let's see. Dithai Sabai Taav, Taav nahi tud jaya, Taav nahi tud jaya. Dithai Sabai Taav, Taav nahi tud jaya, Taav nahi tud jaya, Taav nahi tud jaya, Taav nahi, Taav nahi, Taav nahi tud jaya. So that's the chorus. So now let me look at the verse so that you can start on that, learning it as well. So the verse starts right up here on the G sharp, or in the Indian system we're calling this pa, because this is sa. Sa re ga ma pa, pa ma ga re sa. Okay, so we're on pa. And the first line is Badahom Purak Bidate. Badahom Purak Bidate. Sorry, Badahom Purak Bidate. So it goes way up to here, which is the sa, or C. Badahom Purak Bidate. Badahom Purak Bidate. Thatu soya, thatu soya, thatu soya, thatu soya. So now we put that all together so you can see it together. Dithai Sabai Taav, Taav nahi tud jaya, Taav nahi tud jaya. Dithai Sabai Taav, Taav nahi tud jaya, Taav nahi tud jaya. Badahom Purak Bidate, Tatu soya. Badahom Purak Bidate, Tatu soya, Tatu soya. Dithai Sabai Taav. Okay, so as you can see, there's a lot of different ways that we can use building blocks of the Shabad. So the first part of the verse line, now we can go straight into the second part. Tatu soya. Or we could go back. Badahom Purak Bidate, Badahom Purak Bidate. And then go to the second part. Tatu soya. And then come back to the first part, or stay here. Tatu soya. And then again you can go back to the first part of the same line. Badahom Purak Bidate, Tatu soya. So these building blocks can be put together in different ways, kind of based on what's working for you, and also how the sangat, how the group experience is being moved in the moment. Sometimes you want to extend something, repeat something. Particular words are very meaningful to you, so you want to stay on that and repeat it over a little bit more. I'm not sure who is on the call from Sikh Dharma International, but I see your post there. If you could put the link to the page in the comments, that would be very helpful. Thank you. Anyway, and then you also want to allow room for people to repeat, for the Sangha to repeat. So sometimes there's instrumental, after I've on the verse. Dithai Sabai Taav, Taav nahi tudjaya, Taav nahi tudjaya. And I can repeat that a few times. But before I go on to the verse, I might like to give it a little space. So then I'll just play instrumentally just the line for the verse. And then I'll start singing. So the second line. Vasadi Saganapa Anupa Ramata Sapura Vasadi. And then I could actually not sing there, but leave it blank, encouraging the Sangha to sing the line back. But I'd play it. And then I might repeat it again. Vasadi Saganapa Anupa Ramata Sapura. And I could have the Sangha repeat it again, or I could just stay on that Anupa Ramata Sapura and have the Sangha sing it again. Anupa Ramata Sapura before going to the descending part. Anupa Ramata Sapura, Anupa Ramata Sapura, Dithai Sabai Taav. So you see, there's different ways that we can space the verses, and leaving room for people to call and answer, to sing, but also making sure that you make the lines accessible. Sometimes when people are doing kirtan and they just lay out a very complex line, especially if it's long, it's very hard for the Sangha to remember that tune and the phrasing of how the words fit. Even if they have the words in front of them, it's still challenging. So that's why it's nice to break it into smaller pieces, perhaps. And then as they get familiar, then you can give the whole line out. It's just a way of approaching it. Let's see. There's also the third line, the last line that I wanted to show you, where it's a little rhythmically challenging. So if I'm doing the instrumental beforehand. Har har nanak kasmal jaye nae ramatas sar. Har har nanak kasmal jaye, har har nanak kasmal jaye, har har nanak. So you see how you have to fit that har har nanak. Nanak comes down on that downbeat, on the first beat. So you got to get the har har nanak kasmal. So it's a little tricky. Takes a little bit of focus to get that right. Let's see. Nai Ramadas Saram, Nai Ramadas Saram. I think I've covered all the different pieces to this. I'm looking for questions, and I don't see anything specific to the melody. But if you have something, we have just 5 minutes left in the program. Okay, Indukar from France, Waheguru. Glad you could join us. Pav Singh is here. George. And Deborah, yeah, thank you for that question. Anyway, so let's just, I'll just play through it kind of in an abbreviated way so that you have a sense of how it all goes together. And I don't have a tabla player with me, and I don't even have my electronic tabla set up, I'm afraid. So you just have to count on the beats as you hear me playing the rhythm with my thumb or something. And in that notation sheet, you'll see that it's divided into 8 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Dithai Sabai Taav, Taav nahi tud jaya, Taav nahi tud jaya, Taav nahi tud jaya. बदहों पुरख बिदाते तातू सोया, बदहों पुरख बिदाते तातू सोया, तातू सोया, तातू सोया. Dithai Sabai Taav, Taav nahi tud jaya, Taav nahi tud jaya. Vasdi sagan apar, Anup Ramtasapur. Vasdi sagan apar, Anup Ramtasapur, Anup Ramtasapur, Anup Ramtasapur. Dithai Sabai Taav, Taav nahi tud jaya, Taav nahi tud jaya. Har har nanak kasamal jaye, naye ramtas sar. Har har nanak kasamal jaye, naye ramtas sar, naye ramtas sar, naye ramtas sar. Dithai Sabai Taav, Taav nahi tud jaya, Taav nahi tud jaya, Taav nahi tud jaya. So that is our lesson for today on the Shabad Dithai Sabai Taav. I hope that I answered a lot of questions for you. The link is now in the comments there. If you'd like to follow that and get the lyric sheet, but also the notation sheet for the melody. Let's see, just letting you know, next week, of course, we're going to have a different program. We're going to have dialogues on Dharma, where my guests are 4 Sikh psychotherapists, 1 from Canada, 1 from the UK, and 2 from the United States, all with lots of experience in talking about and understanding depression and stress, especially during this time of COVID. So the emphasis will be on finding strategies within the Sikh teachings or technology or practices that can help, are helping others. So I want to thank you all for being here today with us, and look forward to seeing you on the next call, the next program. I think that covers it. So I hope you will stay safe, stay healthy, and may Guru bless you. Okay, Satnam, Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.